foot lock is not engaged, you almost cannot get the Mula Bandha. So if the feet are splayed out, the toes are crunching in, they're either rocked back on their heels or rocked forward and on their toes, we're going to have a hard time drawing the energy in and out. So again, we'll work on that. And then the Hasta Bandha is the hand. And when people are having difficulty in moving forward and back, let's say, does anybody notice that when someone is in a, let's say you're in a lunge. So you're in a crescent moon, you're in a lunge, and you ask them to come back into downward dog, and they have to get the foot. You've seen that, they're dragging the foot out to the side and kind of sliding the foot out. You know what I'm talking about? It's like, well, most of the time they're not grounding also with the hands, and they're not activating anything else. Because the hands, anybody ever take Qigong or do Tai Chi? Okay, so you understand, you do have a huge amount of energy. Now, I'm always a skeptic. I'm a medical person, so I'm very skeptical about anything that's ever brought to me that's just energy-wise. But the way that our blood vessels run in the hand, they do run in a circle, and that is going to create a certain amount of circular energy just by nature. So when our hands are designed in such a way, I mean, we are animals. I mean, whether we like it or not, we are animals. So the hands have to have an engagement. We have a lot of sensory organs in the hands. So if the hands are just kind of hanging out, or the people that are like this, or they have no sense in connection to the earth, again, the rest is going to fall down. The Hasta Bandha, the hand lock, is associated with the heart chakra as well. So when we have someone who is kind of, collapsing in, they're very restricted in their chest, so they're not engaged. And usually one of the things you're going to ask them is to really engage in, open up their chest, opening up their anahata, and they have that. So we'll kind of look on that. In Oriental medicine, it is thought that you are the age of the width that you can make your fingers. So if your fingers are really tight together, you're really old. So you don't need a facelift. You don't need Botox. So that we have a lot of flow of energy moving through. So that's important. So and then the experience. And basically it says once the body is engaged. Okay, so that's that lock and load. That's the idea of engaging our bandhas. We then want to create a firmness. And I like to tell people, imagine that you have a roll of saran wrap that's rolled around you, which gives you a firmness. If you pick up something that is soft and mushy, it's like all over the place, but it's wrapped nice and firm in your nice firm package, which stays where you want it to go. The alignment is kept to keep natural curves. We are not trying to be poker straight. We're not stick figures. We want to stay with the natural body curve, the way we are meant to be, and not change how we are made. And people, when they come into poses, they try to force their body into something that is unnatural for them. So we need to, there's so many ways to experience the poses to keep the natural body alignment. Stabilizing. And that is to keep that centering. I like to think about people, that people understand that the right side of our body and our left side of our body, our energy needs to come to the center. That when we go into a lunge pose and one leg is back and the hip is off center and they're struggling in this pose, energy is flying out one side, energy is flying another side. We need to keep the center. We have a balance point that sits at our pelvis. And that balance point is where everything's going to happen. So if that point is kind of cocked to one side or the other, balance is off. So we're trying to keep that energy very, very centered. And then, of course, with yoga, we move with the breath. We do not breathe with the move, which is contradictory to Pilates. Which, who else is Pilates besides Mary? But Pilates is the breath is dictated by the move. So in yoga, our move is dictated with the breath. So we know that we move, we breathe, the move comes with that, and it's keeping the body as that package. And I'll show a few little things that I have come up with that has kind of helped. So just kind of going through, and then we're gonna move and get going. I then go on about standing. Certainly we want to align from the bottom to the top, but we don't want to forget about the top to the bottom, because if you do align bottom to top and then they kind of don't have really good awareness, you do need to then stop. Okay, where's your head? Are you looking down? When you say to somebody, stand tall and lift your head, sometimes they'll lift the back of their head. So you may need to talk about, if you had a book or something on your head, looking in the direction of where you're going. I like the idea of standing as though your back was to the wall, but you would have the natural contact points and curves. So your natural contact point is going to be like this thoracic, the back of the head, and the sacrum. The heels are not touching the wall, by the way. Unless you're a no-butter, then you can put your heels against the wall. But usually our butts would take up a little space, so our heels would need to come forward. So sometimes you may need to do that. And this way you can draw that energy up and start feeling now that energy rising into the body. I mentioned the ears pulling back, the chin coming down, that's all our Dhamma Bandha, the back of the head, and the gaze. The interesting thing is hips also need to widen out, not be rotated in and really tight. And when we stand, there is a dynamic energy that takes place. People think they point their toes in, drop the knees in, and things. But the hips, there's actually like a lift that happens with the hips so that our push is not pushed back. We don't have hyperextension. Also, the thing about the foot is what I find is people are really confused about, and it used to train, depending what your training is, there may be some things that are a little different, and then we can talk about it. But there's 3 basic points on your feet. You're going to do the base of the big toe, the base of the fifth toe, and the front of the heel, not the back of the heel. So you pretty much stay pointed there. Now everybody's different. We have flat foots, we have really high arches, and there may be some differences, but we play with it as we rock back on the back of our heels, feel what's going on the rest of the body. Because sometimes it just may be that somebody's too far back on their heels, the rest of the pose is falling apart. So those are the main places, and I try to encourage people that throughout their entire practice, those 3 places are what's remaining engaged. That they never rock back, they never rock forward, which actually freaks me out. She got rock over heels, pop up. Our palms also coming together, our hands at our heart. Just close your eyes and just for a moment, dedicating this practice something special about yourself that you wish to honor today. Let's slowly let our hands come down to our sides and open our legs just a little bit. Keeping strong knees, we're going to bend into the knees just a tiny bit. The back stays very long. Now, has anyone never done breath of fire? Okay, you done breath of fire? Have you done Kapalabhati breath or Bhastrika? You guys have done it. Kundalini calls it breath of fire. It's also called Bhastrika breath, and also Kapalabhati breath is very similar. What we want to think about here is that the exhale is our active phase of breathing. It's not the inhale. So the exhale, you're going to feel a forceful exhalation drawing in, but we're going to actually start like we're dogs. We're going to pant. We're going to open our mouth, and we're going to go. And feel the belly muscles. Okay, we're just going to start here. So if you have a dry mouth, you're really going to hate it. Strong body. So. Now, close your mouth and keep it going.